So I went to New York, and you know how things go. They don't often go the way they're supposed to go. So we get to New York, and there was a general session right before we were supposed to speak, and it went long. So there were going to be 10 of us on the dais. And the man who was arranging this came out, and I had a great little button that said United Nations that I still have. And I was clearly one of the speakers. And he said, well, because the general session ran long, we're going to have to cut down your session. We can only pick 5 of you. And I thought, here's my doubter. Here we go. Why would they pick me? There's all these incredible speakers. And they said, we want you to speak. So I had this little speech prepared. And it was 7 minutes long, and I'd written it, and I thought it was good. It was, I've been to Israel, and I'd been to Yad Vashem, the memorial for the Holocaust. And so when I was putting this speech together, I was thinking, how do I compare the Holocaust to the genocide, and how never again does not mean never again, but this is what is possible. So I put together this speech that I was really comfortable with. I sat down on the dais, and to my right was a little woman named Gita Miller, who had been left at Treblinka at 5 years old. She had never told her story in public. And I thought, oh no. Here I am, a Gentile, talking about a genocide and a Holocaust, and I'm not even African. This is going to go over big. But I also thought, you know what? I know this speech is respectful, and I can't change it. You can't be ad-libbing in a situation like that. So I gave my speech, and then Gita gave her speech. And she wept through the entire thing. She had never told her story in public, and talked about how she'd been left at Treblinka and how badly the nuns treated her because they knew she was a little Jewish girl. She had never married. She'd moved in with her sister and lived with her all her life. And then Immaculée Ilibagiza, who wrote a book called Left to Tell, spoke. And she talked about living in a bathroom, 3x4 bathroom with 7 other women for 90 days in Rwanda during the genocide. And she talked about forgiveness. And when it was all over, I'd been so concerned that I might offend Gita, and I turned to her and I said, thank you for your words. And she looked at me and she said, no, thank you for yours. I must learn to forgive. So I left and came back home, and the next month I went to Rwanda. And I was out with Joy and Janet in one of the cooperatives of 800 women. We paid them all day long for their baskets. And then Joy said, there's some people coming in from New York. Why don't you join me at this dinner? So we were at this Chinese restaurant in Kigali, really nice. And we're at a big round table, and I met these nice women. And while we're sitting talking, I'm on the side with Joy, I hear a woman across the table say her Aunt Gita. And I looked at her, I said, Gita Miller? And she said, you know my Aunt Gita? I said, I was a speaker with her at the United Nations. And she said, you're the one. She talks about you and the difference you made in her life. And I said, I talk about her and the difference she made in my life. And I think about saying yes to myself when I knew, was I adequate to do this? No. Was I meant to do it? Yes. How often would we miss an opportunity because we're not ready? We must understand that when we are called, we are called. And when that happens, we have an amazing opportunity to make a difference in the world.